All right, here we go.
Do you want to hear the intro? Do we get to have that?
I dumped all the files off that, so I have to reset them back up.
Okay. Can you hum it? Can you hum it?
Yeah, here you go. Welcome back to the Ride It Out podcast, the podcast where we ride all the rides and you get out. I'm Tyler.
I'm Jess.
And it's been a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a little explaining to do.
Not even.
Well, okay. So we are fully committed to doing this regularly.
Yeah.
And we're sort of figuring it out as we go.
Yeah. And we're parents.
Look.
And we're busy people.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Some notable things. One, we had almost completely finished recording a beautiful episode for you when our equipment ran out of battery.
Yeah.
And we were only, we had exceeded the time limit we wanted to do. Pretty sure Autumn was waking up, but we hadn't.
It was a whole thing.
We hadn't gotten through the content we wanted to, so we're going to save that meaty episode for you later. It's going to be great
because it was a different topic than the one you're about to hear.
Yes, that's for another time.
Yeah.
But we also in that episode had teased that we had gotten preview tickets to Epic Universe.
Yes.
So we were talking about...
And we were so excited. And so a lot of the front half of that episode was us being extremely hyped.
Yes.
And just talking about all the things we wanted to do. But you're in for a treat today, hopefully, because since that time, we went to fucking Epic Universe.
We did. So that's what we're going to spend this whole episode talking about. Another caveat that happened in between our last episode and in this one is I'm okay, but I was in a school shooting.
Yeah.
So I had other priorities to think about.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, Jess was not immediately directly involved, but she was in other ways and is fine.
Yeah. But I was providing counseling to other people who were involved. So it was,
correct.
It was a busy couple weeks.
So time has passed. Everybody's okay. We're all doing good. We've come back to this refreshed and renewed and ready to share with you our excitement about the trip that we had going to the Annual Passholder Preview dates for Epic Universe. Do you remember what date we went?
Shoot.
It would have been a few weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, you're right. I think we went
16th?
Oh, shoot. I need to double check the calendar because I was about to say the 19th, but that's wrong because that would have been...
I could look at my email, but you know the state of my email, so I'm not sure that would be super helpful.
No, it was the 19th. Yeah, 19th. April 19th.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Time means nothing.
Truly. So this is not going to help you a whole lot at this point, but one of the things that we had intended to talk to you about, the listener, leading up to this is that they have started opening up these Annual Passholder Preview events for Epic Universe. The third park at the Universal Orlando Resort. It's incredible, extremely exciting, lots of new stuff.
And I think those aren't just open to pass holders at this point.
Yeah, they're opening them up to the general public for like a soft opening.
Right. So the idea behind a soft opening is think about it as if you were going to see a play during their technical rehearsal week. So they're still working out the kinks. The actors are still learning their lines. You know, everyone is running as if the show is previewing to a full audience, but it's not.
Right. But sometimes pausing and having to be like, okay, let's reset this because we had a lighting issue or a sound effect didn't go off properly or a prop wasn't in place in time. So they're still figuring out the process for how to run the entire park. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about that is that it's operating at really reduced capacity.
Yes. So that's the main perk, is that you get to see a brand new theme park before the vast majority of people. It's actually not super duper crowded, which I'm excited for when we see it after the park officially opens. I know, we're ridiculous, but because it'll be fun to compare. Like, I'm guessing the crowds are going to be way crazier in June when we go again.
Have to be. Even in the summer heat in Florida, people, it's been a thing for 20 plus years at this point. No, it's been a thing for 40 plus years at this point, that people just know to come to Florida to engage in the tourism and to take enjoyment in coming to the theme parks, hanging out. It's hot, but even though it's the hottest time of the year, a lot of people are bringing their kids. And so that's the time of year when they're out of school.
Right.
They have the most freedom to move around and to go do these large scale trips that a lot of people only get to do like once a year.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it was definitely a privilege for us to be able to go at the time that we did. And I think it was well worth it to go to this park when there's, so few crowds. But it also meant we got to do a lot more things, I think. I'd be curious to see, again, how long wait times compare, but comparatively, what was the longest line that you waited in?
So the longest line that I waited in maybe is not a great judgment of what the lines are like during these preview days, because the longest one I waited in, I got in line like half an hour before the park closed. And it was the...
And so did everybody else who was still in the park.
Exactly. It was the Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge ride. So I knew that was going to be a long one. So I was like holding off getting into the line. And it took me like an hour and a half to get through that line. But it was a whole thing.
So for a popular ride at a brand new park, an hour and a half is not the worst.
Totally. If that was a Hagrid over at Islands, like I would be happy to be only waiting an hour and a half.
Right.
So it's all about perspective. But we're going to dive into all of the particulars about our trip. This is all subjective. Also, like we mentioned before, they're in technical rehearsals. Things are up and down. Things are not exactly operating in the way that they will be when everything is up and running fully. And even over the next few months, over the next few years, they're going to be adjusting things and making little tweaks about how things work. So this is all, take it with a grain of salt, but if you couldn't tell by now, we are so excited that we got to go do this, and we are overall genuinely extremely, we are such Universal fanboys at this point. But even beyond that, we have a lot of criticisms about some things that we encountered, I feel like, or at least I do. So we're going to give you an honest opinion. We're not being paid by Universal. We would love to be paid by Universal.
Yeah. We will retract any negative feedback if y'all want to pay us.
I'll cut it right the fuck back.
Yeah. But because you're not, we get to say whatever we want.
Exactly. So we're going to give you our genuine, honest opinions. We are both enthusiasts and tend to love things, but, there were some things that were not so great.
Well, there's some things that, again, they're tweaking and working on things.
Yeah.
So a lot of this could be different by the time the park actually opens. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Before we get into things, so I mentioned the longest wait time. What was the shortest wait time you had?
Ooh. I did a walk-on to, hang on. So again, this is not a plug, although hit me up, if you're into it. I use an app called Log Ride when I'm at theme parks, and sorry, our cat is trying to jump onto Jess's lap actively.
He desperately wants to be in my
multiple
lap.
Times.
Poor boy. Maybe he'll come back.
Yeah, so let me look at my trip logbook. Basically, it's an app where you can log when you got onto certain rides. You can log the seats that you rode on those rides, make some notes about your experience or whatever. I just use it to, at the end of the day, be like, wow, I walked that many miles and I rode that many rides. Hey, good day. Great time. So let me look at my logbook here. We're going to go back into April 19th. And
I want to say there were several that were 15 minutes.
Oh,
like that was pretty common.
I can tell you right now, the shortest wait that I had for any of the rides, I was shocked by. And we will circle back to this ride to talk about it a little later on. My vision for this is that I would go through our day as we did it and talk about the things we did, like in the order that we did them in. My shortest wait was for Monsters Unchained, which is insane because that's one of the premier in the theme park industry. We call these e-ticket rides. Comes from a Disney term because back in the day they would sell different classifications of tickets that would allow you to get on certain rides and not others.
I didn't know this. Yeah. Interesting.
So there was like A, B, C, D, E. E was the top level you can get on anything. And an e-ticket ride is like the things that draw people to the park. Your Rise of the Resistances, your Hagrid, your what's like another huge
insert your favorite ride.
Insert your favorite ride or the biggest budget ride, basically, that you can think of.
Yeah.
That's called an e-ticket attraction.
Okay.
Monsters Unchained is regularly, even during previews, in the 60-plus minute range. Because it's massive, it's ambitious, it does things that no other dark ride has really done before. It's got a collection of like animatronics that are incredible.
We'll explain.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But I walked onto that ride as a single rider. I was on the ride in 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
Because nobody was doing single rider.
Yeah.
And it was down right before I got in too. So that was another thing.
Right. Because I went on right after you and also in single rider because you were like, oh, I got right on. Like, go. And then the ride was down. So I did get stuck in the single rider. Yeah. But even so, it still wasn't as much as the advertised 85-minute wait.
You were in there like, what, 20 minutes maybe? 25?
I think it felt longer because I was
just,
sad.
Like, standing in place and nothing was happening. Yeah.
But it was air conditioned, so it was a great place to hang out.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We both missed the queues on a lot of these bigger rides, which is a shame. That's kind of the trade-off with riding single rider. But anyway, let's so this is your queue now. Thank you for hanging out with us this far. If you don't want to know the specifics about all of these individual rides, maybe come back later, or maybe come back to another episode when we're not talking about that.
Can we do like overall impression?
Yeah,
let's
like, do that
thoughts
first.
And reactions before. Don't leave yet. Wait, come back. Come back. Hey,
wait.
Okay. Overall impression of the park as a whole.
Park as a whole, absolutely. This is so hard for me to talk about. I consume a lot of theme park content, so I have been very plugged into what these things are going to be like, and I've been following like the construction updates over time. So like the hype is unattainable at this point, at least for the people who are following that kind of stuff. That being said, Epic Universe is unique in the Universal Orlando like resort space for like a lot of different reasons, but like the first reason is just the feel when you first walk into this place is like possibility. When you first walk into the gate, you are looking around at this beautifully manicured first area, and it's different than studios and than islands because you can kind of choose your path. Like you're not locked into like a big loop, you know? And so you kind of have to make a decision like right when you first walk in about like, well, where is this going to take me? And no matter where it is taking you, it's all new and it's all exciting. And yes, that's a product of it being a brand new theme park, which is a really rare thing, you know, in the modern era. But it also just leads to this like anticipation and this like excitement, and in the way that none of us have felt from the other two parks. I get excited every time I go to a theme park, really, in general. It can be a tiny little theme park. It can be an amusement park even. And I'm like, wow, what rides they got? Cool. What food they have? Neat. What can I look at? But yeah, this one is something special. And I will now pass this to you to talk less specifically about things.
Yeah, no, I would agree that it's just exciting to be in a new park in general. But I think everything is designed very intentionally and thoughtfully, and it's just very beautiful and new, and
the consideration is insane.
Yeah, it seems like it's built for theme park enthusiasts. So I feel like when you walk in, studios and islands feel old. Like this just feels very, very modern. And, those are still great. Like
not in a bad way. We love those parks.
Right. But it's very exciting. And like each of the lands that you go in is just incredible. It's like a space that you want to spend a lot of time in and feels fully immersive. You can't see the other areas of the park when you're in each section. So it just totally feels like you've just dived right in.
Yeah. And the times when you can like get a little peek of something, it almost feels like it's like they have stood in the spot that you're standing and looked at that and been like, how can we make that kind of just sort of look like it's something in the background?
Yeah. How do we blend it in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
very impressive.
It's a beautiful park. I had a great time. I can't wait to go back. It was awesome.
It's kind of all I've been wanting to do since we got back.
I know,
from there.
same.
We unfortunately had a pretty rough time at the end of our trip for that has kind of colored my perception of that trip a little bit.
So you had a rough time, and folks, the moral of the story is drink a lot of water.
Drink so much water.
Just drink a lot of water.
If there is one thing I can impart to you, it is don't let yourself get dehydrated from going way too hard at the theme parks over a weekend. Just have the water, have the Powerade, have the Gatorade, whatever you need. Stay
hydrated.
Yeah.
Just very important. So that's not Epic's fault.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah. So and the other kind of nice thing about the preview week is that because it's technical rehearsals, some rides may not be running or might be, paused or whatever. The tickets are slightly cheaper right now before it opens on May 22nd.
Yeah.
Not a huge difference, but like maybe like $20-$30 a pop.
But so, that's
it adds up if you're taking a large group of people.
Right. And that's like, a soda.
Right. Because it's at a pop. Yeah.
I was just making a joke that sodas are $30.
Tariffs.
Yeah, truly.
So
theme parks.
Oh, bye, Griffin. He doesn't want me anymore.
Our cat is left.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful park. I would love to go back. I'm sitting here like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe we could sneak in one more weekend.
I've been thinking about that every week.
And, that's a little ridiculous because we have season passes, so we can go to the other parks as often as we want.
But it's not the brand new shiny one.
I know. We want to go to the shiny one. Okay, so now I think we can get into spoilies.
Yeah.
All right. So,
okay, officially, we love you so much. If you don't want to hear specifically what the parks are like, then fucking bye.
Okay. But come back to us after you've seen it and then let us know your thoughts. And
yeah. If you are able to get to the point where you want to hear this or you have any questions about the park, because we are definitely going to go back to Epic.
We're actually going back on
next month.
Yeah, June 14th.
We have plans to go for a Father's Day trip.
Well, that was we had bought those tickets initially, and then they opened up the preview, so we were like, ooh, yeah.
So happy Father's Day to me. And between now and then, so that's the 17th, I think, is when we're going, right?
June 14th.
14th. Yeah.
You're saying this like you asked the wrong day off work, which is
I'm
making me a little
wondering
nervous.
whether or not I did. I took the 16th off.
Yeah, which is a Monday.
The Monday. Okay.
So we're going
yeah,
the 14th, which is the Saturday.
Which is Saturday. Okay.
Great.
I'll cut all that out.
Okay.
And then we'll say we're going back on June 14th. And if any time between now and then you have any questions about anything, feel free to text us using the link in the show notes. Get in touch with us via email. Ask your questions. Give your feedback. And we'll talk about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Didn't we have someone text us something?
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
Do you have that?
I do. I know who this person is. So
I mean, obviously.
But I mean, it's like every piece of feedback helps for sure. So our first piece of fan mail was from someone in Tallahassee. Go figure. And I know that this person would be okay with me reading this. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I am not a theme park sicko or Jess's mom, but enjoyed the show. Love your energy and humor. 10 out of 10 would subscribe and have in a parenthetical. So thank you so much, random Tallahassean, who's not so random. We love you. And if you would like your messages read on the show or not, if you just have any questions, feel free to send that.
Yeah.
We're happy to talk. So where do we start now? Did we start at the beginning of the day?
Yes.
How did you feel when we got up that morning in the hotel?
Okay, so
We were also staying in a substandard hotel for what we want. It was not on site.
Yeah, we decided, okay, we're going to try and save a little money, not stay on site. And I don't know, you and I are not bougie hotel people. We're fine staying in roach motels and whatever, because you're not spending a whole lot of time in the hotel. But
things have changed a little bit recently.
Well, we have gotten a bit spoiled because we've stayed on site at different Universal hotels before, and so this one was pretty close to the parks, but just kind of shady. The keys kept not working, so you came back from the park after midnight and you couldn't get in the room, and that kind of stuff.
It was a whole thing. It's worked out for us well in the past, but now that we have our daughter,
we have to increase our standards slightly. Yeah, slightly safer accommodations. So
I will say we got up that morning and we went to Islands first.
We did, and so the reason for that is because during preview week, the park opened at 11.
Yeah.
So
during our specific one.
Yes. So that could be different at other times, but the hours were what, 11 to 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I think it's going to be different once it actually opens on the 22nd, but because, we got a kid, we're up at the crack of dawn anyway. We're like, well, we might as well go to the other parks.
And because of our annual passes, we get early park admission.
Yes.
So we could get into Islands at 8 rather than having to wait till 9. So it made sense to go over there for a couple hours first.
Right. I was pretty tired because I closed down the parks the night before.
I was so excited about this for you because you have never had a chance to be in the parks at night.
Yeah.
Or at least not in the last 10, 15 years.
Not in recent memory. I think usually I will take Autumn back to the hotel and put her down, and you'll stay at the park.
Because you love me so much.
I do. And I like to give you that extra time. But we've been talking about how we want to swap doing that. So we did this time. So I closed down Studios and Islands so that you could close down Epic. I know.
Which was such a gift.
So you get a little more to talk about with Epic.
Yeah, but I mean, what was that experience like being in Islands and Studios at night for you?
Oh, it was fun. I mean, it's fun being just a individual person on your own, because I could just
huge thing.
Look up, the wait time for what did I do? I did E.T. and Mummy, and then I did the Cinesational show
the
at
nighttime
studios.
show at studios now, yeah.
And then I booked it over, after that closed, I booked it over to Islands and did Velocicoaster. But it was, and I got myself some Butterbeer treats because duh.
Yeah.
So it was nice to just be like, okay, this is the wait time for here. I got to run over here. Then I'm going to go over here and like be efficient in doing all that. Because usually if you're with a bigger group, you got to consider other people's needs. You know, Tyler, but other people may not know that I am, I'm not a runner, but I feel like I could train to become an Olympic power walker.
Yeah, dude, you book it.
Yeah. And that's very freeing to just be on my own and be booking it.
Carving through the
the I'm like, here I go. So I like going at my own pace and just making a beeline for where I want to go. So yeah, that was a great time. I did stay up too late, so I was a little sleepy, but the excitement of the day. So, by the time Autumn and I went home and left Epic, I would have stayed later and I would have happy to stay later, but it was also kind of nice being able to have an early night.
Plus you could, rest and gain your strength for the day to come.
Yes, which I needed to take care of you.
Jeez.
Aw. Yes, so that was great. We went to, did we go to studios?
First thing in the morning? I can tell you.
Yeah, because we did some Minion stuff, which is over in studios.
The night before.
That was the night before. Okay. Yeah.
So before we
parted ways.
Yeah, before Autumn and I left, I was like, hey, what's a thing that we can get all three of us on? And I was like, oh, you know what? Jess has never done VillainCon Minion Blast. It's not really my cup of tea, but it's fine. It's like a conveyor belt thing. You have a gun. You're like shooting a bunch of stuff. We get on this ride and it shuts down for what feels like, because we have an under 2-year-old on the ride with us who just wants to be doing something.
And she can't sit still.
And she can't. And she's like falling on the ground, and they're telling us like, oh, we all have to be standing for the ride to get back in motion.
You have to stay standing in the same spot.
So we're there for what feels like 45 minutes, but I know it's probably like 10, 15.
Yeah.
But even that was just too long to be standing in the exact same place.
Yeah.
So utter failure. Never doing that ride again. Doesn't do anything for me.
The ride kind of sucked anyway.
If I want to get on a thing like that where I can shoot stuff, I'll get on Men in Black.
Yeah, it was basically it felt like going in an arcade and playing Fruit Ninja.
Yeah.
But
for
you're trapped
30 minutes
forever.
Or whatever.
The conveyor belt is very slow.
Not
yeah.
Yeah, and none of it works. The aim doesn't work properly.
Yeah.
The screens are all running at like 15 frames a second, which if you play video games, you understand how acceptable that is. The minimum I will accept is 24 for film, and it did not look like film. Not to disparage anybody that worked on that ride, but it's a bad ride.
I don't know how old it is. I mean, maybe it just needs
4 years. 3.
That's not that
3
old.
years.
That's not that old.
No, they could have done a better job. It looks like it's using Microsoft Connect technology, because when you're like conveyed into the next room, there are these sensor bars, and you can't shoot anything in the room until you're into the room, and the sensor bar can pick you up.
Oh, I
so like if you're looking
that.
down the hallway and trying to shoot something on the screen, it won't see you until you're fully in the room.
Wow, you were ready to go.
I was observant.
I was going to say you were more locked in. I was half-heartedly shooting at things while trying to wrangle our child.
Yeah, and it was mostly just wrangling the child. So not recommended if you're curious. If you're a Minions fan, if you're a Minions friend, go on like Minion Mayhem, sit down, watch a movie. It's a thing you can or go eat something at Minions Cafe. Like, you'll have a better time doing that, probably, than you would doing that.
Yeah.
The queue was really fun, was the problem. So anyway, we did that. So that was Friday night. We got in and did that. And then my daughter and I left you to go to your own devices. And it sounds like you had a really good time.
Yeah.
Looking at these pictures, I know you had a good time.
I did. Yeah. But then on Saturday morning, we did Islands because that's the one you get the early park admission to.
Yep.
So you can get early park admission if you are a pass holder or if you stay on site in the hotel. So that's another perk to staying on site is the shuttles will take you everywhere. So you don't have to worry about parking.
It's so nice.
If you stay on site, if you buy anything, you can tell them to ship it to your room. So you don't have to carry it around all day. And you get the early park admission, which if you're wanting to do the two, what is it? E-ticket?
E-ticket.
The two e-ticket rides, Velocicoaster and Hagrid over in Islands, doing those during the early park admission is the best time to go. Either that, maybe around noon when everyone's trying to have lunch.
Like between noon, 1, 2, that
or
kind of 2-hour range.
End of the day, just saying, all right, this is the last ride I'm going to do. I'll sit in this line.
Yeah, because they'll let you get on.
Yeah, as long as you get in before the park officially closes.
Yeah.
You don't have to complete the ride before the park closes.
Yeah.
So pretty sure you did Velocicoaster
that
first
morning.
thing, right?
I can tell you right here, I got Log Ride open.
Of course you do.
I did Velocicoaster. I did Forbidden Journey because, and that's the Hogwarts Castle ride.
Oh, we all did that together. So Autumn actually went in the line.
We were wanting to dip our toes in the water of doing Child Swap more, which we've talked about previously. But we did it several times on this trip.
Because we wanted to try it out and get her a little used to it, or at least see how she was going to react before we went into Epic. Because typically you and I will just have one of us go and the other one hang out with Autumn, do something else.
Yeah.
But we wanted to see...
But it's more fun and puts less pressure on the person just watching the kid.
Yeah.
To be able to go all experience it together, as long as that would be a thing that everybody would be open to. And by everyone, I mean mainly my daughter.
Yeah. But she did pretty well. We tried to pick rides that already had short wait times. So,
or at least interesting things to look at.
Yes. So Forbidden Journey was only like 15 minutes. We were moving pretty quickly. And in fact, we brought a little activity book for her. So she kind of just wanted to sit down and look at her activity book. So she was actually more upset with us that we had to keep telling her the line was moving.
Yeah, because the line was moving faster than we expected.
Yeah.
So we were having to like pick her back up and move her along.
So I kept being like, oh, look, this thing from Harry Potter. And she's like, yeah, I don't care. I have a dinosaur activity book that I want to look at. I don't even know Harry Potter. Yeah. So that was cute, but
we did that, and we did Skull Island.
Yes,
which was great. There was stuff to look at, but most of all, they have like a child swap room.
Yeah,
to go sit in and whatever and look at stuff.
And she was not scared of any of the spooky stuff
at all.
Yeah, I was.
We're gonna have such a spooky baby.
I know. I love it so much.
So then from that point, we went over. We had to pick up the shuttle because.
We did Spider-Man too.
Oh, I don't have Spider-Man on.
Really?
On that day, yeah.
Well,
unless I just.
Oh shoot! Maybe we did that.
I think you did Spider-Man.
Maybe we did that on Sunday then.
That was Sunday.
Maybe a lot of this is Sunday. We might have done Skull Island Sunday.
No, Skull Island was on Saturday.
I'm glad you logged this. Nobody cares about this but us.
No, and we'll cut it out. It's fine. But I wanted to get to the epic stuff mostly.
Yeah.
So from that point, we had to pick up a shuttle because there is no like parking garage or lot that we could use at Epic. So we were at City Walk. We got on the shuttle. We took it over. And then we got off and we were there. And the first thing you see when you get off the shuttle and you are like walking around the path is this entrance gate that they call the Kronos. And it is this big tower with like a bunch of moving little discs in it. And they all represent the 4 different worlds that are being tied together at Epic Universe. And it was so magical, and I teared up, and it was a very emotional thing to see for the first time in person a month before the park opens.
Yeah.
It was just.
It's really, really exciting.
It was a great thing.
this beautiful entrance music, and
Yeah,
it just hypes you right up. So
it does.
very exciting. So that's the first like portal that you walk in. So each world has a little portal that you go through that has like a little slogan or phrase over the top to kind of let you know what you're going into.
And there's a whole lore and story behind it, which I would love to get into at some point, but we're going to have to kind of just get through some of these things because there's a lot to talk about. You go in, and the first main hub area is called Celestial Park. It's the one that ties everything together that all the other portals branch off of. But in Celestial Park, so the first thing I did that day was apparently an hour and 20 minutes after we got in the park. Because I guess we were just walking around looking at stuff and doing things or whatever, or trying to get on rides.
We had some lunch.
Yeah, we had to get some food. And then it was like rolling right up on our daughter's nap time. So we were like, maybe we can just like eat and then like get her settled and maybe go do some things.
Yeah.
The first thing I did that day was a ride called Stardust Racers. And you guys, it is a roller coaster that is a dueling roller coaster. So I'm sure some of you remember from back in the day, Dueling Dragons over at Islands of Adventure that got turned into Dragon Challenge that eventually got torn down, and in its place is Hagrid. Stardust Racers is just like, I almost said middle of the road, but that's not, that's not being generous enough to it, is my favorite like roller coaster without any other modifiers on that at the moment. It is fast. It is extremely dynamic, and the interplay between these two different tracks that like roll over each other or race right next to each other, and you can just look at the other people in the cart next to you as it's going at the same time. There is nothing else like it. I ended up riding both the yellow and the green track for this one, and I think the green track is my favorite just because of the specific like maneuvers that are happening over a few parts, but you can't go wrong. And the wait times during previews, I waited like 30 minutes max, I think, the first time. The second time, I basically walked right on.
Yeah, mine was like 15 minutes, and it would have been faster if I did the yellow, but people had kept saying that green was better, so I waited just a little bit longer for green. But even so, it was not that long. And it's
what did you think of this ride?
It's such a smooth coaster.
Yeah.
So like you're just very like comfortable, and I don't know, if I say leisurely, then it doesn't sound thrilling, but it is.
Leisurely in the way of like effortless.
Yeah.
You know?
You do feel like you're just like shooting off on a star, it's beautiful.
And rather than it being like a bunch of dropping and like heart sinking moments, I feel like the majority of this roller coaster is what's called ejector airtime, where you feel like you're coming out of your seat, but it's like a floating rather than like a velocicoaster flipping you over the water, feeling like you're going to drop into the ground. It's like you're being pushed out of your seat and you feel like you're flying,
Yeah, it was a great time. It was lovely.
I did ride, I didn't quite get to ride the green track at night. It was at 6:47, so that would have been just before sunset.
You wanted to ride it at night.
I wanted a night ride, yeah.
But then there are too many other things calling your name by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The downside is that the queue is outdoors, so it will be hot.
It's a little hot
in season.
They have a ton of fans and a ton of covered areas though, and like canopies.
Yeah.
Domes.
Yeah. But the queue is not otherwise exciting. There's not anything interesting to look at. No theming.
It's like Art Deco, vaguely kind of centennial sort of feel. But other than that,
in comparison to the rest of Celestial Park, which is gorgeous, like the queue isn't super exciting.
And it does fit the theme of Celestial Park.
Right. Yes, the ride itself.
Yeah. But yeah, that one was phenomenal. I cannot believe that the next ride I got on was Monsters Unchained.
Yeah. And that
But
was so
at
funny
110.
because you were saying like, oh, what are the 2 rides that I really want to do? And we also wanted to do Ministry, but
We'll talk about that.
I know. But I feel like the fact that you got to do 2 of the biggest rides you were most excited about back to back is pretty cool.
And at the very beginning of the day.
I think we want to spend a little more time talking more in depth about
We do
everything. So I think, and as you can see, like we can really just dive into each little thing. Cause you just teased about going to Monsters Unchained, but we haven't even talked about all of Celestial Park yet.
I know. And that, honestly, each individual area of this thing could have its entire episode just by itself.
Yeah.
I feel like, based on our experience with it.
And maybe it should.
And maybe it should. And yes.
Maybe it will.
And maybe it will.
Maybe just some quick impressions.
Yeah. So let's start with Celestial Park. What were your other impressions of this? Because mine are, this is the best park, or this is the best land or world, I think they're called worlds, to hang out in if you are not interested in going to ride the rides.
Yeah.
If you have no care about that, if you're like being drugged along with your family,
or you're pregnant, or whatever,
or for whatever reason you are not physically capable of getting on the rides, go hang out in Celestial Park. I mean, go walk around the other lands if you want, but they have these water shows that happen constantly, and it's so pleasant and just so relaxing to look at. The food is all really great.
Yeah.
I didn't even go to any of the big restaurants. I went to mostly quick service stuff. But I did the Meteor Astro Pub. I got a burger there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I got several drinks from one of the Meteor Astro Pub, and then like one other place that was right outside. It was all great.
We want to eat at Pizza Moon next time because we just walked in.
Eat at Pizza Moon, but
it was so beautiful.
I mean, we had autumn. There was like no way we could possibly do it.
I think it was also like a weird time. It wasn't quite lunch or dinner, so we didn't want to eat like an entire pizza in the middle of the day.
But they looked so good, and the theming is so phenomenal. It looks like what do they call those old texts like from back in the day that had the illustrations? Enlightened or illuminated something? Is this sounding familiar?
But I need a visual cue. Maybe figure this out.
I thought the art history minor might know what I was talking about.
That was a long time ago.
Illuminated text is what I'm going to think that is called, and Tyler from the future will cut in right here if I'm wrong. So I was either wrong or right.
Put a picture on our Instagram.
I will. Okay, so Celestial Park, great. Stardust Racers, incredible ride.
The musicians, I think, were one of the best parts of Celestial Park too. Like there's a dedicated band area where like rotating bands will be playing, and they're all like themed with costume. It's really cute.
Like on a stage with a pavilion.
Yes. And then there's also like just kind of roving musicians. Like this woman was playing this electric violin that like
so cool.
The
it's like
electric,
transparent.
Yeah. Like I love those violins that it's like not fully
it's
there.
Like
yes. Yeah. Almost like I can't think of the words, but she was so cool. And so that it's just a really neat area. Lots of lighting on the ground and cued with the water.
And something that Jess wouldn't have seen, but I mean, she saw in the videos that I took, all of the lighting in the entire world of Celestial Park is all synced up to the water show.
Yeah.
So as it gets to be nighttime, you'll see everything reacting to the music that is happening across the entire park. It's insane.
So it's a very gorgeous area, and I expected it to be like the boring area that you just want to move through quickly to get to the other stuff, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was very fun. I love Stardust Racers, but we also did the carousel with Autumn, and it was gorgeous.
The Constellation Carousel.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm going to try to go so fast through all this stuff. We will be coming back to talk about this. Constellation Carousel was something that we did kind of in the middle-ish of the... Oh, no, it might have been towards the end of the day. Oh, it was the last thing we did before you left, actually.
Yeah, it was the last thing we did with Autumn.
So at about 6-ish or so, you guys headed out. But we got on, and it is this, I mean, you've never seen a carousel like this before, because it's not your typical like merry-go-round style where it's just like rows and rows stacked up and they all kind of go around in a circle. There are like these little turntables within the larger turntable of the entire thing. So you're like spinning independently of some of the other things. And all of the animals are themed to animals from constellations. We got to sit on a dragon with our daughter, and she loved it. She was like a little dragon rider. And she had learned to love dragons a lot earlier in the day.
Yes. We spent a lot of time at Isle of Berk.
Yeah, which is the How to Train Your Dragon world.
Yeah, and she discovered a love for dragons, and that's just all she wanted to talk about. Dragons. Yeah. It was great. It was so good. She
kept going.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was an absolute blast. And
so the other worlds, we have Isle of Berk, which is the How to Train Your Dragon.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like absolutely amazing. So much kinetic energy. Animatronics everywhere. It's the best.
Yes. And I think it's the largest. So I think there's the most rides
I believe so too,
in that area. Very kid friendly. But there's also great stuff for adults.
There was a crazy playground there that Autumn absolutely loved.
Yeah,
it was called
obsessed.
the Viking training camp or something like that. Yeah.
The food was really good. We
got mead.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Yeah, the rides were great. So we'll do a deeper dive, but what was your favorite part of Isle of Berk?
My favorite part of Isle of Berk was I didn't get to see it running quite a lot, but there was this one particular spot where, do you remember the animatronics, which seriously, like I'm saying this right now, listener, you are not prepared for the amount of moving things that are in this land, the likes of which I have not seen in any other Universal park. But there was this one spot where the baby dragons are fighting over a fish.
Yeah.
Loved that. But if you're standing right there and you're looking across the little lake that's there with the statues, occasionally you'll see the coaster train for Hiccup's wing gliders going around. You can also see the Dragon Racers rally, like training little flat ride going. You can see from that exact same spot, you can look at Fire Drill with like the boats going around. So just being able to see so much happening all at once was my favorite. And then the other second favorite thing, just because it was like the biggest. Oh, it actually wasn't the biggest animatronic we saw that day. There's an ice dragon, and I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But over near one of the food areas, he is like just kind of has knocked out part of the roof of one of the buildings, and you can walk up next to him, and he's just doing his thing and not talking like words, but like whatever.
Autumn loved him, thought he was great.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I think that's what is so exciting, is that from any one spot you can see so much of this land. So similar to the Super Nintendo world, like you just walk in and you're just like a kid and giddy, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta look at it all.
Fully just immersed and overwhelmed. That was another world that my daughter and I we worked there. I guess kind of we did. My daughter and I walked into that for the first time, I think without you, because you were on Monsters, maybe.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah, and then I met up with y'all after. Yeah.
I mean, I can look over here, but we walked into that world, and I was just like, how does this exist? Yeah. And I know Orlando is not the first one to have that, but it really does something to your mind to be looking at this immersive world of these games that I have played for a long time, and I have never really looked at like especially an old Mario game and been like, I want to be in there, but like it just is stuck in my head, like I have that and can recall that very like easily, and to be standing there and seeing it all happening, and again seeing it all in motion.
Yes,
and all the
there's so much
animatronics.
moving. It's so cool.
And all the coins spinning and all the shells moving around like on the cliff ledges and stuff.
It's so cool.
Uh,
favorite part of
that one is probably the first thing that's coming to mind is the piranha plants.
Yeah.
They're huge. They look like they're 20 feet tall, and they're just like kind of reaching down and like snapping at you and stuff. Honestly, my favorite part of that land was getting the power up band and like hitting all the blocks and stuff.
Yes.
That's just a blast. Autumn thought it was really funny too.
Yes. So for those who don't know, there's a lot of interactive elements in the Super Nintendo world.
You can play it as a game.
Yes. So kind of like if you have a wand and you're going to the like spell stops in the Harry Potter worlds. It's just an elastic band you strap on, and then you can be Mario and punch bricks and
go blowing.
Yeah. And it connects to an app that you can, keep track of all the points that you're getting. So that's really cool and fun. I did not get the opportunity to ride any rides in Super Nintendo World. Yeah. So I can't I
only did the one.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's only two.
Well, no, there was Yoshi.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Mine Cart.
Oh, so yeah, that's the Donkey Kong Country area, which I didn't even see when I was there.
Right.
Which is such a shame. We split up several times trying to do the things that we wanted to do, and so some of us saw things that the other one didn't.
Well, and it was, just never enough time. So
that was also one of the ones that was like 115, 120 minutes regularly.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I'm not waiting 2 hours. There are 2 hours that I can be going to do other things in the parks.
Yes. So,
and from what I've heard, not a 2 hour wait worthy ride.
Well,
but fun.
Yeah,
fun and really incredibly themed.
Yeah, mostly it was just so fun to be in that space. I want to ride the rides.
Are you familiar with like the Donkey Kong stuff at all?
Not super.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I think we played together like once, maybe.
Yeah,
so,
but it's still fun.
Yeah,
because everything's moving.
Yeah,
it's just, all just like wow.
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
Imagine if you were walking around Jurassic Park and you could just see dinosaurs like coming in and out of like the bushes on the walk path. Like
yeah,
like
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So that was a blast. So I will say, let's see, which one do you want to talk about next? Briefly, dark. What is it? Dark World?
Dark Universe?
Darkmoor?
Dark Universe. It's called the town is Darkmoor, but okay. Dark Universe is
Dark
the world.
Universe. Okay. So that is where all the Universal classic monsters live. Mm-hmm. So if you like, what does HHN stand for?
Halloween Horror Nights.
I was like haunted.
Haunted night.
I couldn't. Yeah, my brain isn't working anymore. So if you like Halloween Horror Nights and you're like, why don't they just do this all year long? Now there's a specific place where you can be spooky all year long. Is. And it's really cool.
And you're not going to get like jump scared as you're like walking around.
No, I'm a total wimp and I was fine. I was fine on Monsters Unchained.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wow. We'll talk about that ride later. That was
part of that was
the best
also
part.
that you got stuck on that ride for a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah. So, I mean, that was obviously the best part, but I mean, there's so much theming that's really great there. There's a lot of character actors that are out and musicians.
Yes. Igor's walking around. We saw it in The Invisible Man.
Yes.
We were in there.
And he just wants to like roast young children.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
hilarious.
He's a one-man roastery.
Yeah.
Like fully just burning people as they come up to meet with him.
Yep. I must have looked really hot at one point because I was waiting for what's the restaurant that has the windmill that lights on fire?
The Burning Blade Tavern.
Yes. So I was waiting there trying to see if the windmill would light on fire. It wasn't, but I was standing there for like 10 minutes. I'm like fanning myself. Pretty sure Autumn's asleep at that point. And one of the team members came up to me and he's like, you know that the steam fountain, it's it'll cool you down. You can go over there. Like he was like
it's
worried
like a
about me. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So anyway, if you're really hot, go to the steam fountain in the main square when you first walk in, because it'll cool you down.
It's a cooling mist.
Yeah. It's not actual hot steam. But I thought that was very funny. So yeah, that area, very spooky, very cool. All the food everywhere is just like, it's a little more expensive, but I feel like what you get,
the quality compared to the other two Universal parks is like, at least 20-30% better.
Right.
Than any of the other Universal parks.
Right. So instead of I'm paying $12 for a shitty hot dog, I'm paying $16 for a delicious meal.
For a really good hot dog.
Right. No, it's not just hot dogs. It's like actual, like legit food.
The variety is also just all over the place too. Like they're really going in to try to experiment and like play with what.
Yeah. It's not
and
just.
It's all thematic.
Right. Not just regular theme park food. It's all really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So Dark Universe was really cool. We loved it. And last, what is it just called? Ministry or what the?
Oh boy. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic.
Yes. Which is odd because
there are so many odd things about this land. Look, we loved it.
It's still
fun.
great.
It's really fun to be in. We are conflicted about our feelings about this world currently.
For reasons.
The
main reason is that, unfortunately, there is a virtual queue for the Ministry ride, which is the only ride in that world. So there's the Cirque show.
Le Cirque Inconnu.
Yes, which I've heard is great. But if you go to Epic, you want to be sure to get to the shows a half hour before they start, because they will fill up.
Yeah.
So we kept missing all the shows.
I didn't see a single show while I was there,
which is really unfortunate, because there were, there's one in Isle of Berk that's supposed to be really cool. But anyway, so we didn't actually get to do anything in.
Well, we get to do one thing in the Ministry world.
Well, we got to eat,
which is eat.
And shop.
And the eating was really good.
The eating was really good.
Do you want to talk about what we've got?
Yeah. I'm gonna get there. But first, so the virtual queue for Ministry right now, that's what they're doing. I had a friend who managed to go there the weekend after us, and she got her whole family with 8 people in, and they actually got 2 wait times, so they got to ride it on it twice in a row, which is really super cool.
Yeah.
But Tyler and I completely missed all opportunities.
Well, and I fully drained my phone battery because the entire day that I was there, I was refreshing, looking for them, because I had heard that they were dropping different wait times throughout the day, or queue times to be able to reserve. And then so you guys left, and I'm doing that basically the entire rest of like the 2 hours or whatever that I'm there. And then eventually gave up at about 9 because I was like, I guess they're just not doing it anymore. But taking into consideration that it is a technical rehearsal, they're operating at limited capacity already because the ride apparently is not running very well. So they're having to run like maybe a 10th, a 12th of what they would normally be wanting to do in terms of capacity to get people through, because it's going to be the most in-demand ride in the entire park.
Right. Yeah.
And it's still not functioning very well. Like, that makes me a little worried about what it's going to be like when it opens. And then because the demand was extra high because the capacity was extra reduced, things were there were 2 points throughout the day where it allowed me to go in and look at the times for the virtual queue because I just happened to get in there at the right time. And then every single one I pressed. No kidding, like 30 different slots for times. It would be like, sorry, the slot's no longer available. Sorry, no longer available.
Yeah.
Over and over again. So we're both a little frustrated about that and hope that they're, well, first, okay, a few different things. One, hope the ride works. In period. And then 2, hope that they can come up with some other system to. What I hope they don't do is, because of the insane demand, make it like a lightning lane thing where you have to buy like a $25
that'd be so
thing
annoying
to reserve the time. But I mean, what else are they going to do at that point?
I mean, I would pay for it, but
that's the problem.
right.
And then everybody would pay for it.
Yeah.
And then that becomes the new standard.
Right.
So I don't want that. I want to try to vote with my wallet in that way about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't have a great alternative.
Yeah.
Beautiful theming in the land, though.
It does feel mostly like you're just in Epcot, Paris.
And also, there is no connection between Paris and London.
Yeah.
The whole thing doesn't really make any sense narratively.
Right. So you walk into...
And granted, we're not very familiar with Fantastic Beasts, which the land is based on.
Right.
But still.
Yeah. You walk into 1920s Paris, which is one of the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's very subtly magical. So I feel like, you gotta like really look into things and kind of see that it's magical. It's not
see the shop windows with like the brooms and stuff.
At first glance though, it just feels like Paris.
The murals, once you get close though, are like so cool, and they all depict these like magical creatures, and they're
it's very detailed.
This is the other difference. Almost no kinetic energy in that land.
Yeah.
There's like nothing
in comparison
moving
to the
or
other ones. That's a good point.
Yeah.
There are some like interactive things that are neat. We'll talk about this more in the deep dive.
Yeah. Just a big contrast between that one and the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame.
But we did get to eat at one of the main restaurants, Sirene.
La Cafe Serena?
Something like that. French mermaid cafe.
Guy.
Yeah. They got a butterbeer crepe.
There's a butterbeer crepe, you guys.
And it's so good.
Fucking good.
It's so good. I've heard that
I think it is 100% because I like butterbeer. I enjoy having butterbeer, but I don't have it very often because it's kind of heavy, and like I'm not much of a like fill myself up on sweets kind of guy. But the butterbeer crepe, I think, is my favorite butterbeer product.
Yeah.
That is sold on the property.
Really, really good. I've heard that it can sell out quick. So if you are in the mood for a sweet treat, try to go a little earlier. It's huge. So you can split it between 2 or 3 people fine.
Yeah.
So that was delicious. It was pretty to go in there, but unfortunately, if you couldn't get into either of the ride or the show of that world, then it's just like, oh, I'm kind of looking around and I'm kind of interested in things.
And like trying to do magic with my wand, and maybe it's not working super well.
Well, if you have a wand, so I can't remember how much the power up band was, but I think that's a lot cheaper than an interactive wand, right?
It's probably like $20-$30 cheaper. Yeah.
Right. So a lot more accessible for you to do the interactive elements over in Super Mario World.
I'll have to fact check that.
Yeah. Do you remember how you...
I don't.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I was just going to get it anyway, basically, at that point.
You just had already budgeted for that. So yeah, I feel like I had expected the Harry Potter stuff to be the best because I love Harry Potter so much. And I think in comparison, usually for like studios and islands, I just want to be in the Harry Potter worlds, and I could just live there and be happy there. Mm-hmm. But over at Epic, I would say I liked it, but I liked all the other worlds more. So I would hang out there, and I'm super excited to do Ministry eventually.
Yeah.
But it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't get me as excited, and maybe it's because I'm not as familiar
of like an emotional attachment to that one as I do to the other ones.
Maybe if I watched the movies, then maybe I would.
Maybe, but from what I've heard, irrelevant, which sucks.
Yeah,
because the ride, and like I said, we're gonna do a part 2 where we go through all the individual rides, and we'll talk about that then. The ride, I love. I very much identify with it. Didn't see it. Didn't see the queue.
Right. So you walk into 1920s Paris, but then you go to the Flu Network, and you get transported through time and space to 1990s London, which is the Harry Potter that we all know and love.
Yeah, where like a thing is happening with Umbridge. So that's
what you know and what you're excited about, but the rest of it is different.
We had to get through all that to get to there.
I know.
I don't know.
Which I get why they did it, because basically the only other aspects of Harry Potter that you know are, we already did the Diagon Alley. We already did Hogsmeade. We've already got Muggle London. So that's it. They don't have anything else for you to be in.
You know what? I have a quick pitch right now that I just thought of that would have made a better third world.
What?
The Forbidden Forest.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been
dope. You have
dope.
the Whomping Willow. You got the Shrieking Shack you can bump off to.
Yeah.
You got the whole Centaur fellowship.
You could have gone through, if you had to get to the Forbidden Forest to get to the Ministry.
Yeah.
And
whatever hideout that the Marauders had or whatever.
Well, they were in the Whomping Willow.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that would have been pretty.
And you could have done the lake from the.
Mm-hmm. They could have done an underwater thing with the mermaids, and
hey, look! Universal.
Hey guys,
get up with us
for the next one.
For the fourth one.
For the next one,
maybe we could just pretend like the third one didn't happen.
Do that. I think Okay, never mind, because your idea was great, and I wish they did that. But I'm glad that they did something different, because if they just did another London backdrop, you've already seen it.
I can't think of any other London places that would have made any sense to do.
So you've already seen that. I guess they could have done this is Privet Drive, but again, that's not interesting.
I don't think so.
So
I think if they had fully committed to have the entire thing just be the Ministry.
Yeah.
You walk through the portal, you're in the Ministry. There could have been so many different. There could have been courtyards, even if that is the concern.
Yeah.
Of being cooped up the entire time,
the whole place could have been the Ministry, and then just one section be the Ministry ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. You live and you learn, or you don't.
But it's. I would just go in. I think I had high expectations. I haven't dived in as much as you have, so. And
neither of us got to do the ride.
Right. Yeah. But for all of Epic, I didn't know everything as much because I didn't want to be super duper spoiled, or have it be spoiled for me. But then I was like, ooh, actually I want to be kind of prepared. So I started looking up stuff. So, I was very excited. I thought it exceeded my expectations overall for everything. I think that's just the one caveat for the Harry Potter stuff, is that I would have expected that to be amazing, and it was good. And I enjoyed it and I liked it, but it wasn't jaw-dropping fantastic.
Which is what we all wanted.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. But not to knock it by any means. So the whole experience was great. We had a great time. I can't wait to go back.
And we are going back, which is the other exciting thing. It's already in the books.
And I don't know,
maybe we're going to go back before then. I don't know.
I've got some time off
Mother's
for Memorial Day.
Up.
I don't know. We'll figure
Who's to say?
Who's to say? If you want to sponsor us going on another trip.
Yeah, feel free to get in touch with us and send it to, let me get my bank account information up here. One sec.
Yeah.
That's 459. That's not
real. It was just a 3-digit number.
You can find me at 459.
Send it to 459. Done.
But thank you for coming on this journey with us. I almost said coming on this ride with us. Also would have been applicable. I love you all. I love you.
Thanks, Ed.
My wife. And if you want to get in touch with us, feel free to text us using the link in the show notes, or send us an email at rideitoutpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com. Any other things you want to plug or talk about?
Not really. Stay tuned we'll do another deep dive.
Part 2 coming up.
Yeah, we got some other good content. I think we are likely going to be spacing this out as an every other week release.
Yeah,
the weekly
that seems to work well for us.
The weekly was a little ambitious, so hopefully that means that you will get some really good content that we will have time for. Likely it'll be the same, and we'll be just as tired.
Probably be the same, but at least I'll have time to edit it.
There we go. Yeah, and our next planned trip is going to be in June. That we'll be going down. But I'm sure we'll have some fun adventures planned in the future. And thanks for hanging out. And as always, no screens.
No screens until we write again. It's going to be one of those two for sure.
Bye.
Bye.